Chosen one, you defeated the darkness with your own weapon. They thought they could bring you down. They laid traps, but they were wrong. You recognize the darkness and turn its tricks against it. Every blow struck against you was returned. Every plan they devised collapsed on their own heads. How could you endure? How did you stay so strong? Write 777 in the comments immediately, because your power can neither be stolen, nor bought, nor destroyed. Your path is destined. Nothing can stop you. You are the chosen one. The hushed whispers, the uncomfortable stares, the subtle distancing whenever you step into a room. They all speak volumes. They believe you should have crumbled, begged for mercy, fallen into despair, yet you remain standing, undaunted, enlightened, untouchable. They cannot fathom how. They can't reconcile your strength with their expectations. So, they fabricate stories, twist the truth, create elaborate explanations to justify their inability to break you. They insist you must be drawing on something unnatural, something sinister, because in their world, real power doesn't come from hard work or resilience. Success is a game of manipulation, control, and fear, where strength is manufactured through deceit. When you rise above all of that, when you refuse to engage in their petty games, they panic. It doesn't add up. You weren't supposed to thrive without playing dirty, without getting your hands soiled. They thought they were the ones pulling the strings, that you were just another pawn in their schemes. But you were never part of their game. You were always above it. Everything they aimed at you only turned on them. Every manipulation, every falsehood, every dark scheme. It all backfired. They wanted to see you falter, but instead, it was them who stumbled. Now, they frantically search for answers. Why hasn't this worked? Who's protecting you? What kind of unseen force shields you? Their paranoia grows. They study you like prey, looking for signs of dark rituals or forbidden practices. But you don't need any of that. Your strength isn't from spells or curses. It comes from something far more powerful, far beyond their comprehension. The divine protection surrounding you is invisible to their eyes, yet it is more real than anything they've ever known. They underestimated the cosmic forces guiding you, the ancient wisdom woven into your soul, the silent shield of guardianship that has always been there, just out of their reach. They were never simply fighting you. They were challenging forces that predate them, entities older and wiser than anything they could summon. And they lost. So now, they retreat into their fear, whispers vibrating with uncertainty. They begin to suspect that you've invoked something darker, that you are orchestrating a haunting, a curse, some invisible threat that torments their every step. But you're not. Their own actions have sealed their fate. Their darkness has eaten them from within, and they have no idea why. Karma, divine will, the natural order of things, it's all in motion, and they are helpless to stop it. They never thought they'd be the ones facing the consequences. They thought you would remain ignorant, compliant, easy to control. But something changed. The fog lifted. The cracks in their illusion became impossible to ignore. You began to see the truth. No longer blinded, no longer manipulated. You understood their lies, their envy, their hidden agendas. The subtle deceptions no longer fooled you. You felt the energy behind every word, every gesture, every lie. They didn't realize that you didn't need their confessions or evidence. You could feel the emptiness in their words, the falseness in their smiles. Now, their fear is palpable. You hear it in their voices, see it in their eyes, feel it in the air around you. They thought they had mastered the art of deceit, convinced that their masks were impenetrable. But you see through them. You see them for who they truly are, not the roles they play, not the stories they tell, but the dark energy they radiate. And that terrifies them. They thought you were alone, powerless, but they were wrong. You have always been protected. Your ancestors, your guides, your intuition, every whisper, every sign, every nudge from the universe has led you to this moment. They never expected you to see through their game. They never anticipated your strength. Now, they test you, trying to provoke a response, searching for any crack in your armor. They throw subtle challenges your way, looking for any sign of weakness, but you don't engage. Your silence unnerves them. Your calm, your refusal to play their games, it breaks their grasp on reality. They have no control over you, and that is what terrifies them most. Because if you aren't fighting back, if you aren't seeking revenge, if you aren't trying to bring them down, then they know. True power was never theirs to begin with. It has always been yours. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. The echoes of their uncertainty vibrate in the air. They think they've figured it out. They wonder if there's something more to you, something hidden beneath the surface. Are you being guided by unseen hands? Are you harnessing some kind of hidden force? The anxiety swells, gnawing at their insides. They feel something watching them, tracking their every move, the creeping sensation of a presence, something not of this world, fills their minds. At night, they wake to cold sweats, disturbed by strange dreams, caught in fleeting visions of something dark, lingering just out of sight. They point their suspicions toward you, convinced you are summoning spirits, manipulating energies, playing with powers they cannot fathom. But what they don't realize is that none of this is your doing. They've constructed their own prison with lies and manipulation, and now it is closing in on them. They sowed chaos, and now it grows within them. You don't need to lift a finger. You never did. The truth always rises to the surface, and the revelation that terrifies them most is the undeniable force they cannot control. You. They thought they had the upper hand, that their tactics would wear you down. They sent their lies, their attacks, their whispers, confident it would all bring you to your knees. At first, it seemed like their plan was foolproof. This will break them. They won't know what hit them. We've won. But they misjudged you. They saw vulnerability, a target. What they didn't account for was the strength you drew from deep within. The traps they laid fell apart. The words they spoke had no effect. Their power, whatever little they had, crumbled to dust before it could reach you. Their confusion turned to panic. They questioned everything, seeking answers, trying to understand why nothing was working. What are we missing? Who is protecting them? Why can't we break them? They turned to spiritualists, mystics, and energy workers, hoping someone could explain your resistance. But what they feared most was confirmed. You are untouchable. You are shielded, guided, and divinely protected. Their denial only grew. They clung to their beliefs that power must come through dark practices, manipulation, and rituals, things they could understand. They couldn't accept that your strength came from a source far beyond their comprehension. It wasn't magic, it wasn't dark arts, it was divine favor, something they would never understand. In their desperation, they fabricated another narrative. They're hiding something. They must be involved in something darker than us. The truth was too painful to accept. They had spent their lives bending the world to their will, creating outcomes with false promises, twisting fate for their own benefit. They knew manipulation when they saw it. But what you did wasn't manipulation. It was a divine path, untouched by their schemes. They couldn't accept that your protection wasn't something you called forth. It was a law of the universe, already woven into your being from the start. Their inability to accept this only fueled their attempts to destroy you. Every plot, every attack, every desperate move they made fell apart faster than before. Their own darkness returned to them, and every curse they cast unraveled in their own hands. They grew sick, disoriented. Their nights were haunted by the very energies they had once used to harm others. It wasn't you. It wasn't your doing. It was their own actions coming full circle. The forces they tried to control were now consuming them, turning on their creators. They tried to play with fate, to bend reality to their will. But they forgot one thing. You can't manipulate the forces of the universe. You can't escape divine order. And now, in their crumbling desperation, they still seek an explanation. Why is this happening to us? What did we do wrong? The paranoia churns inside them. Their once confident demeanor cracks, and in its place is fear. Fear of the very things they once controlled. They are being consumed by their own creation. They believed they could control the unseen, manipulate the energies around them. But they were wrong. It's the very forces they summoned that are now turning against them, refusing to obey their commands. The balance they sought to upset is now working against them. They can't run from their own darkness. They can't escape what they've set in motion. Every twisted intention, every sleepless night they aimed at you has now become their own. Imagine a bright sunrise breaking over a serene lake, each ripple a gentle reminder of the Creator's promise. A promise that every new day brings renewal and balance. Just as the first light disperses the lingering shadows of the night, so does divine order bring clarity to our lives. In that sacred moment, the universe whispers that nothing escapes its loving design, and every action, every untruth, and every ill deed will ultimately be brought to account. They didn't understand it before, but now they feel it deep in their bones. They once believed they were untouchable, that they could linger in the obscurity of their own making, hidden from the consequences of their actions. They lived in a world where might was measured by the ability to manipulate and control, by twisting circumstances to serve their selfish ends. They thought power meant bending others to one's will, crafting intricate schemes in the dead of night, and setting traps that no one could ever escape. But the truth, my friends, is that every lie, every curse, every carefully laid plan carries a weight that the universe never forgets. The ledger of life is balanced by a divine force that neither favors the mighty nor spares the deceitful. For years they believed they were the puppet masters, pulling the strings from behind a veil of darkness. They strutted about with an air of arrogance, convinced that their every move was shielded from the repercussions of their schemes. Yet, as time unfolded, the very energies they thought they commanded began to shift. Those same forces, once obedient to their selfish desires, turned and circled back, delivering to them a reality they had long denied. Now, as the chill of accountability creeps ever closer, they find themselves haunted by the echoes of their own misdeeds, a presence that grows stronger with each passing day. a constant reminder that nothing is left unaddressed by the laws of the universe. In every whispered falsehood, in every malicious act, there lies a debt that must be repaid. The very fabric of creation demands that we honor truth and justice. And so, as they peer over their shoulders, sensing a presence they cannot shake, they come to realize that it is not an external force at work, but the culmination of their own actions. It isn't the dark magic they once believed you wielded. It is the natural consequence of a life built on shaky foundations of control and manipulation. The cosmos, in its infinite wisdom, is simply setting things right. Every scheme they set in motion is now returning to them, multiplied by the very energy they once unleashed. Friends, this is the wonderful promise of divine justice, a force so gentle yet so unyielding that it cannot be thwarted. It is the very hand of the Most High, who writes every chapter of our lives with a pen of righteousness and mercy. Those who once thought themselves masters of fate now tremble as they realize that nothing escapes the careful balance of the universe. Their once sterling confidence is now eroded by the knowledge that the scales of justice always tip back toward truth. They are beginning to see that what they constructed out of deceit is collapsing under its own weight, and in that collapse, they find the bitter taste of regret and the sharp sting of accountability. There was a time when they boasted of their ability to command outcomes by sheer force, to orchestrate events as if they were conductors of a grand symphony. Yet now they stand in disarray, caught in the inescapable rhythm of cause and effect. The very elements they thought they controlled, every calculated word, every carefully planned curse, have returned to them like an unstoppable tide. And with each passing moment, the realization dawns that the universe is not a realm of chaos, but a well-ordered domain governed by eternal laws. These laws are as certain as the sunrise, as inevitable as the turning of the seasons. No amount of trickery or cunning can defy them, for they are woven into the fabric of existence from the very beginning. It is a truth that resonates deeply with those who have learned to trust in divine guidance. A truth that speaks to the hearts of the chosen, the resilient, and the wise. You who walk with divine wisdom and move with spiritual authority, know that true power is not seized by force or acquired through underhanded means. It is granted by the hand of the Most High, bestowed upon those who remain steadfast in their faith and committed to living a life of integrity. Your power is not the result of manipulation. It is the natural outpouring of a spirit that has been nurtured and protected since time immemorial. Every step you take is a step guided by a sacred purpose. Every decision made with the assurance that you are part of a grand, divine plan. And so, as those who once reveled in their self-made dominion now cower in the realization of their own undoing, let it be known that the balance of life is not disturbed by human hand, but restored by divine intervention. They can no longer hide in the shadows, for the light of truth has shattered their illusions. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, is reclaiming its rightful order. The false idols of control and deception are being replaced by the steadfast, unyielding power of genuine faith, a power that cannot be diminished by the fleeting schemes of men. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Imagine a sturdy river that flows steadily through a vast, open plain, its waters clear and constant, reflecting the unyielding promise of divine provision. This picture reminds us that true power does not lie in climbing over others to reach the top, but in being deeply rooted in the eternal truth of the Almighty. Friends, let this be a heartfelt reminder that real strength comes from the unshakable foundation of God's Word, a power that transcends mere worldly ambition. In our journey through life, we sometimes meet those who measure success by how high they can raise themselves by pushing others down. They build their empires on the fragile ground of manipulation and deceit, chasing after temporary victories with methods that are as unstable as sand. Yet our Creator teaches us that every act, every decision, every word we utter carries its own divine weight. The promises of heaven remind us that the light of righteousness always dispels the darkness, no matter how dense or deep that shadow may seem. Those who choose to sow discord and live by crooked means will inevitably face the consequences of their choices. The natural order, lovingly set in place by our Heavenly Father, ensures that every negative deed meets its match in divine justice. Meanwhile, you who walk in the light of divine favor are called to stand firm and remain unyielding. You are encouraged to trust in the providence of God, knowing that your strength is not dependent on the fleeting opinions or temporary triumphs of those who pursue power through self-serving tactics. Remember, true power is not about the heights you scale by stepping on others. It is about how firmly you are planted in the rich soil of spiritual truth. As you continue on your path, let the light of God's love guide you, protect you, and fill you with a confidence that cannot be shaken by the transient storms of life. You are blessed, you are chosen, and you will prevail. For divine wisdom and favor are your constant companions every step of the way. For in the grand tapestry of existence, every thread is placed with purpose. And when the time comes, the universe will unveil its perfect order, a moment when every wrong is made right, every injustice is rectified, and every soul is called to account. Hold fast to your truth, stand firm in your conviction, and let the light of divine wisdom guide you. The path may not always be easy, but it is paved with the promise of eternal justice, and no force on earth can alter that sacred decree. They can't explain it, and they won't. It's easier for them to invent a story, to claim that you are dangerous, that you've summoned something. It's easier to believe that you're the source of their downfall than to admit that they lost control. They tell lies to anyone who will listen, spread rumors, and twist the truth, trying to create a false narrative that makes sense of their failure. But the truth is clear to anyone who is watching. They didn't lose because of you. They lost because they were never meant to control what they thought they could. Divine protection is real, and it's what has kept you safe. Their downfall is of their own making, and that, above all, is what terrifies them. They can't seem to wrap their heads around it. To them, strength is about domination, bending the will of others, securing control through any means necessary. This is their foundation, their definition of power. They fail to recognize that real strength isn't about force. It's not a game of manipulation or coercion. True power isn't earned through secrets or trickery, it's innate. It's something you never had to chase. It's not a commodity to be stolen or bargained for. It's a gift, woven into your very being. You don't fight for it. You don't plead for it. You simply carry it. It's there, surrounding you, in the wisdom passed down from those who came before. You move through life with quiet authority, guided by forces beyond comprehension. You are both a healer and a protector, connected to something ancient and far-reaching. There's no need to push or struggle against the current. You are part of it. They don't understand how you know things they don't, or how you remain untouchable. Their own perception is clouded by the systems they've built, the systems that only serve them as long as they control everything around them. They clawed and schemed for the power they have, but it's slipping away. It doesn't come from the right source, and they can feel it slipping through their fingers. They can't comprehend that your strength isn't derived from anything they can manipulate. It's not stolen, borrowed, or fragile. It's yours by right, and that's what terrifies them. It can't be taken, it can't be controlled, and it will never belong to them. They keep searching for an answer, a way to box you into something they can understand, something familiar. They think you're doing something to hide it, some secret practice, some dark influence they can't grasp. They cannot fathom a truth they cannot control. They assume they're the only ones capable of seeing the world in the way they do, that their forceful grip on reality is the only path to power. But you've never followed their path. You've never had to manipulate fate or twist others to reach your goals. You simply walk in the direction that's already laid out for you. Your connection to the divine isn't something you summon. It's something you trust in. You don't look for shortcuts or try to cheat the system. You move with purpose and integrity, knowing that your journey has already been mapped and that every step is part of a plan far greater than their comprehension. Your power isn't fragile. It isn't made of secrets or lies. It's stable, it's real, and it cannot be corrupted. You're not following the same forces they are because you never had to, and they can't accept that. They fear the purity of your strength because they can see it, even if they don't fully understand it. They want to control what you possess, but it's something that will never be within their reach. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles. Feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. They don't need to understand. Let them talk. Let them search for explanations in places that will never yield the answers they seek. They will never be able to break what they don't understand. You don't need their approval or their validation. Let them wallow in their confusion, their suspicions, their fear. None of that is your problem. They can't see what's unfolding before them. Your growth, your awakening, your power solidifying and expanding with each passing day. They wanted you to falter, to question yourself, to stay small and afraid. But those days are long gone. The doubts that once held you back have been erased. The illusions that kept you bound have crumbled. They wanted to trap you, to stop your progress, but they failed. You move differently now. Your words carry weight. Your presence is undeniable, and they can feel it. the force of your energy shaking the very foundations they once thought they controlled. Deep down, they wanted what you have: the clarity, the confidence, the unwavering connection to the divine. But they weren't willing to put in the work. They weren't willing to face the trials, to trust the process, to grow from the fire. They wanted shortcuts, but those only led to empty victories. You didn't take the easy way. You put in the work, embraced the lessons, and stood firm in your faith. That's why they'll never have what you have. And that's why, no matter what they try, they can never bring you down. Let them try. Let them stumble in their own fear. The truth of your power is unstoppable.